news continues right now on News Channel 5 on your side.
He served 16 years for a crime he did not commit until an exclusive 5 on your side investigation helped win him a new trial. Yesterday, Cuyahoga County prosecutors asked that all charges be dismissed in the interest of justice for Daryl Houston. An Ohio appeals court ordered a new trial after our continuing series of reports found no evidence linking the crime. Well, Chief Investigator Ron Regan broke this story 7 years ago, and Ron joins us now with the final chapter.
Well, Leon, the decision by prosecutors confirms what our investigation has been saying all along, including an eyewitness who told us 7 years ago that Houston was not the killer. This is how it all ended, but it began in 1991 when a clerk at this convenience store was shot to death. Daryl Houston spent 16 years in prison for a murder he did not commit.
Stand up, sir.
In court, the only eyewitness said Houston was not the killer.
Look at him real good. Is that the man you saw in the store that robbed your boss?
No, it's not.
Sir, is that the man in the store that shot your boss?
No, it's not.
Within minutes, prosecutor Brian McDonough asked for the case to be dismissed.
In the interest of justice, pursuant to Criminal Rule 48, the state of Ohio would ask for this case to be dismissed.
Judge Nancy Margaret Russo met with both attorneys, then dismissed all charges.
I have the greatest respect for you and for your office for doing this, and I think it's the right thing to do. I will grant the motion. All of the charges against Mr. Houston are dismissed. Any costs are vacated, and you are a free man today, Mr. Houston.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
His mother rushed to his side in tears.
Thankful for you guys believing in me, thankful for Mr. Sims, thankful for the courts, thankful for the prosecutor's office. It's been a long time.
Defense attorney Rufus Sims agreed to defend Houston after our 2003 investigation raised serious questions about his original conviction.
The state of Ohio did the right thing. They did the ethical thing, and we're very thankful for that. It's been a long 7 years.
Houston's mother never lost faith.
I have faith. I believe in God, and I knew eventually this would happen, that he would be, we would be free. He would be free. So he's free. Thank God. And Mr. Regan and Channel 5. Without you guys, we couldn't have done it.
And as you just heard, Judge Russo singled out Assistant County Prosecutors Brian McDonough and John Hanley for what she called the highest ethical conduct she has ever seen on her years on the bench. Daryl Houston and his family plan a day of prayer this Sunday for Thanksgiving.
Ron, this is a wonderful job that you did. Absolutely marvelous job that you did, because you've walked this road for the last 7 years. What are your thoughts about all of this?
Well, you know, it was a long road. And I should say at the outset that, you know, we get phone calls from prison inmates all the time and are asked to look into their cases. And I think it's more than fair to say when I was first contacted, you know, there's always a sense of, look, you're in prison, you know, what can we do? But I think it was after we really looked at the case, looked at the case files, looked at the transcripts, looked at the detective notes, it was apparent that there was no evidence to convict Mr. Houston. And in fact, the eyewitness, even in the first trial, said that Mr. Houston was not the killer.
Well, you did a wonderful job in pushing this story all the way to get him absolutely exonerated, acquitted, and everything, charges dismissed.
I think it raised the profile, and Defense Attorney Rufus Sims stepped in after our report aired, and he deserves a tremendous amount of recognition.
Many thanks, Ron Regan, for all that you do.
You're welcome.
In more ways than one.
It
is one of Ohio's most visible programs that promises to use every dollar to fight breast cancer. But a 5 on Your Side investigation tonight reveals why questions are now being raised about going. Investigator Ron Regan joins us tonight with what he's uncovered. Ron?
Well, Danita, we're talking about those special Ohio license plates you see that raise money for breast cancer victims. And the organization that gets all that cash says it may not be going to women who need it. And we found no one in state government actually checks how your money's being spent.
People gave it willingly for a cause, and it should go to that cause.
She's one of 8,000 women diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Ohio.
Maybe you lose your job. Maybe you're not physically strong enough to care for yourself or your children.
But a 5 on Your Side investigation has found a program that promises help for cancer survivors admits thousands of dollars could be missing.
What were red flags to you?
Well, there were a number of red flags over a period of time where I was concerned about the way the money was being spent.
You see these special license plates everywhere. For every plate sold, $25 goes to a special fund to fight breast cancer. That's more than $347,000 in the last 5 years. And it's all turned over to the Breast Cancer Fund of Ohio, a nonprofit that promises 100% goes for things like transportation for appointments, special meals, and rental assistance. Ellen Connolly is the board's president.
I've been on the media, asking people to get the plate because the money stays right here in Ohio and helps breast cancer patients.
And now you're finding out.
And now I'm finding it's not.
For example, we obtained the fund's 2008 tax return. It claims to have received only $79,000 that year. But records we obtained from the Department of Motor Vehicles shows it turned over more than $94,000 the same year. $40,000 alone went for professional fees and not to women fighting cancer. And there's other questionable spending.
There's one really unusual.
Well, we had some pink back scratchers with Breast Cancer Fund of Ohio, and I remember seeing them.
Back scratchers?
Right, and they were a nice little gimmick. We passed them out, to people, and then, sometimes people would kick in $1 or whatever.
What did that cost?
About $5,000, I find out today.
$5,000.
Right, $5,400 and some dollars.
As a result, Connolly filed these complaints with both the Ohio Attorney General and the Summit County Prosecutor. She's requesting investigations into the fund's former treasurer and how the funds were dispersed. Rachel Kirk resigned as treasurer last week. Has the money been spent properly in your view?
I'm not at the liberty to say anything.
She has not been charged with any wrongdoing.
I resigned, and I don't, I don't know of anybody accusing me of anything.
Meanwhile, cancer survivor Brenda Pillar is one of thousands who paid an extra $25 for her license plate.
In good faith, we just believe that these dollars are going where they're supposed to.
Inez Rosa is a cancer survivor who works with a breast awareness program through Metro Health Medical Center.
We need education to save women's lives. I mean, it's all about saving lives.
And Cindy's another cancer survivor who just last week thought of buying the plate to support other women.
The concerns with benefits and, insurance and child care if you have kids, it's overwhelming.
And the Breast Cancer Fund of Ohio told me it's never once been asked by anyone at the state level to account for a single penny of your money. By contrast, in Florida, groups earning cash through those special plates are required by law to furnish a yearly audit at their expense before they get a dime. And by the way, you paid more than $3 million last year for all kinds of special license plates. We'll continue to follow where your money's going and tell you if Ohio makes changes in its program. I'm investigator Ron Regan.
A 5 on Your Side investigation tonight uncovers ambulance rides to nowhere, and taxpayers are stuck with a bill for hundreds of thousands of dollars. On Your Side investigator Ron Regan found it's a spending spree for canceled trips that you still pay for.
It can be the difference between life and death.
Well, I see a lot of ambulances driving up regularly, daily. It's like a regular bus stop.
He's talking about this, the Veterans Administration Medical Center in Cleveland. Taxpayers spent $529 million last year providing veterans with medical care they need and deserve. Some of that money paid for these ambulances and ambulettes. Nearly $9 million last year to a local ambulance service that's the exclusive provider. Qualifying veterans depend on them for everything from kidney dialysis to eye exams. George Cubbard is a Korean War veteran.
Every cent that the taxpayer pays to the government should be put to the best possible use.
And it was one of those ambulances that kept him alive. How would you credit the ambulance service?
Well, they may have saved it.
But we found they're often driving all over Northeast Ohio empty. We reviewed the VA's own records. We found ambulances and ambulettes are often canceled on scene, wasting more than $500,000 in just the last 3 years.
That's an awful lot of money. Somebody should know how to handle it maybe a little better than they are.
In just 5 days last January, 18 trips were canceled on scene. The VA paid more than $6,000 for nothing. So why are so many canceled? Among the reasons, 84 sent to the wrong address, 236 patients not at the location, 579 already hospitalized, and on 18 occasions, even to the homes of dead veterans who had previously passed away. The remainder range from patients refusing to go to no one at home. But the VA signed a deal requiring reimbursement for canceled trips. And veterans say the VA's poor management is costing tens of thousands of dollars that could help with their medical expenses.
It's a waste of taxpayers' money. It is.
Big surprise. It's a big waste, actually. I would call it a waste because I could be getting some of that money.
The VA hospital declined our repeated request for an on-camera interview, but insists veterans are called the day before a scheduled appointment to remind them. Meanwhile, the VA continues to spend taxpayer dollars for trips to nowhere.
Well, I don't think it's doing the veterans any good.
The VA also told us they placed that order for ambulances just 24 hours ahead. So despite thousands of canceled trips, no one ever calls a veteran an hour or so before an expensive ambulance is dispatched just to make sure someone is there. I'm investigator Ron Regan.